Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Infinity, episode number 106, recorded. I always forget that part, September 28th, 2015. I am one of your two hosts this evening, Will Kelly, and joining me once again, it's been a long time, Lloyd Hansen. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well, Will. Thank you for having me on the show. Even though I'm the one pushing all the buttons, it's kind of odd, but yeah, no, it's good. It's been a
You,
while. It's been far too long, my friend.
I know it has been, and I do apologize for that. You've been asking me, like, when am I gonna, I'm ready to talk about 3.0. When are you gonna let me back on? And
I'll dry my
well, we're
tears.
getting
It's okay. It's okay.
and you're not only helping me host this week, but you're also producing the show.
Mhm.
Oh man, you're gonna have to invite me on next time because you're taking things over.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have an executive decision right now. You are off next week's show. I'm gonna take over, and I'm gonna do it myself. We're gonna have a takeover of the Inside Infinity podcast. What do you think of that?
You know what? I guess that is your prerogative. You are the executive producer. So you know what you say goes. I just hope that I can win your love back so I can come back the week after.
Time out, Kelly. Time out.
No, in all seriousness, Lloyd, you are actually going to be hosting next week's show as well. So this is great. Get you talking about Disney Infinity again.
Hmm.
Although we talk about it all the time, just in front of a camera, so it will be great for next week. And who knows who's going to be your co-host
I
next
don't
week?
know. Don't know. Maybe Jason? No, not
Well,
Jason.
not Jason.
No, he's
In
already
fact,
said no.
that's
I sent him a text out. He said no. No, sorry,
okay.
no.
Nope. He said he's ranting, but he's ranting about real life right now, not about Disney Infinity.
Does he wear a silly hat when he does that in real life too? I want to see that.
He does. He does. Yeah, I don't know what's a Australian silly hat. What would I don't know. He
I
probably
don't know.
actually wears a cowboy helmet. That's what he wears
Okay,
since
that
he's such a fan of
that
cowboys.
would work.
Anyway,
Hmm.
we don't have a lot to talk to you about this week on Disney Infinity. I started to lie to you and said we have lots to talk about, but we don't. I don't know what's going on. The news is light this week.
Yeah,
It's
we were chatting
been
before the show. It's like you'd think this week would be the news dump week. It would be like boom, 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 because of Lego Dimensions launching. But yeah, it's been kind of quiet.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I mean, it's not only the fact that a new rival coming into the space is launching this week, but also probably so far, at least until we get to Force Awakens,
Mhm.
the most anticipated Star Wars playset
Totally,
is releasing this week, and
so good.
hardly a word. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna talk about it real soon. You've actually had hands-on. You got a review copy, and
Mhm.
so you've. How long do you think you put in the game?
Ooh, I don't know hours. I know that I'm holding off on doing the last mission until I finish all the other missions. So I'm jumping between all the different planets and space to try to get all the other missions cleared up. So I've been doing a lot of noodling around. I'm probably at like 12, 14 hours maybe just
Wow,
playing
really?
around. There is a lot of content in it. We'll get into it when we talk about it, unless you want to do it now.
No, yeah, let's save that for the end. I am extremely excited to hear about that, and also remind me to tell you about challenges because there's some things I need to tell you about.
Cool.
Before we get to that talk, though, let's talk about the news we have heard of this week. So this first news item is coming at us from DizKingdom.com, and this is our first look. I forgot to mention spoiler alert, so turn away, close your eyes now, or if you're
Oh,
listening in the
it's
car,
off.
turn it off.
Oh, it's back on.
Sorry about that. This is your first look at Nick and Judy. You've been able to see it for a while now, and so what this is an Australian, not Australian, a who is it? A retailer, a South African retailer, actually posted some images about the international packaging. So this is the international packaging for Nick and Judy, but we can assume that that style is going to be pretty similar, just maybe a few different colors. That generally tends to be what it is,
Hmm.
the difference. And yeah, I don't know, Lloyd. What do you think of kind of the packaging and these characters? I don't think we've had you on the show to actually discuss your thoughts on the characters, even.
No, I know next to nothing about this movie. I've seen the trailers and it's made me want to see more about it. So when I saw that the characters were announced, it's like, am I really gonna like them? And then they released a little bit more trailers. Was it at D23? Did they have a new trailer at D23? There was there was a new piece of content that I saw right around D23. Maybe it was an older trailer that I hadn't seen before, and I immediately wanted to play Nick Wilde, mainly because my son is named Nick, and he's like, "Hey, his name's spelled the same as mine. It's not Nicholas, it's Nick." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." He's like, "I want that character." It's like, all right, fair enough. We'll do that. We'll get that character. So I really like them. They seem a little bit different than most of the other 3.0 or 2.0 or 1.0 characters, where they're kind of like in their own little worlds, very different than some of the other characters. So I really like that. The thing that I really like about packaging is it's nice and bright. I thought the Disney original packaging for 3.0 was a little bit dark. It was like black on dark purple.
Yeah.
I like the kind of sunburst and stuff that's going on behind that. So I'm quite excited to see what these characters are going to play like in the game. I mean, they both look really, really interesting.
I agree, and that's actually an interesting point. I just looked back and looked at both packaging for Star Wars and the originals, and you're right, it is kind of dark, and
Darker, yeah.
when you compare it to, it's almost kind of depressing even. Someone in the chat, Seawolf, was asking. I have no idea. I'm curious if you have thoughts on this, Lloyd. Seawolf in the chat is asking, does anyone know why the packaging is altered for different markets? I
No,
have no idea.
I think it's a standard marketing thing. For to talk about Nintendo for a second, even though this isn't a Nintendo show. Things like Kirby. In Japan, Kirby's this smiling ball of fun with like super super smiley faces. But when a Kirby game comes out in the U.S., he has like angry eyes, which is really, he looks like Mr. Potato Head with angry eyes on, and it's like a weird thing. Like different cultural norms, I
Yeah.
guess, get pulled into the advertising, and I guess that must be something similar like this for the packaging.
I just kind of started to get a little bit of a nervous tick because I consider myself a collector, and I've only collected or not standard, but US versions of the packaging. So now I'm like, oh no, not really. But I feel bad for people that are that into collecting, because you would
Totally.
need, in theory, two different versions of every figure. I
Two
think
or
there's only two
more,
different
maybe. Who?
versions of the packaging.
Yeah, like I'm thinking for say Amiibo, the U.S. packaging is different from the European packaging, which is different than the Japanese packaging. There'll be like the Japanese one with Japanese text on it. There'll be like the German,
Yeah.
some, I think German has different packaging as well. But so there's a whole bunch of different like text on the packaging. And I guess if you were like a crazy super collector, you would want to have every single version of every single
Mhm.
box to keep it in box. I tend to, oh, except for the amiibo that are right above me, so I'm kind of lying. But I tend to take things out of the box as soon as I have a chance, because I don't
Yeah.
like to keep things in box. As you guys remember on whatever episode it was when Jason Haynes made me open all of my crystals.
That was amazing. Yeah, on back to these figures though, I agree with you. I was not excited about this movie originally. I think I've mentioned that multiple times on the show, but I did see some footage at D23 and I was completely sold. And not only that, I was sold at these two figures being, or these two characters being figures in the game, because it's just going to create a fun environment to play with these characters from the movie. So super super excited about that, and also excited to see their what they look like,
Mhm.
and also kind of what you were saying. They do kind of have their own style almost, and they do look, I don't know, kind of separate in a way, which also I think is an interesting thing, and it probably lends itself a little bit better to the type of movie it is.
Yep.
So cool, cool. Well, that is the first news item of the week. Now let's move on to the second. This is something that made me extremely excited. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going out of town, and I was really hoping that I was going to have a mobile version of Infinity to play around with on the plane, and while I was on my trip, and they answered my calls and released the 3.0 edition on Android, iOS, and Amazon App Store, which is also Android, just a little bit different store.
Hmm.
It's first thing I wanted to say is that they did a much better job this year on releasing this version in a more timely manner. Are you you're showing it on screen, Lloyd?
Yeah,
Yeah,
trying to.
it's cut off for me. So, oh yeah, look at there, it's starting up on the splash screens. So this was cool. It's released on lots of different platforms, and it's released earlier than it was last year. Lloyd, have you had a chance to play around with this and get your thoughts on it?
I did a little bit. I downloaded it as the second it was made available. Well, probably not second it was made available. Second I saw every single person that I follow that is a Disney Infinity fan tweet about it. It was like all at once. It's like, oh my God, 3.0, 3.0, 3.0. So I went and downloaded it immediately. It took a while to download. I opened it up at my lunch at work. I was eating lunch and I popped it open. And then was happy but kind of sad to see that it jumped right into the tutorial because I had a sandwich in my hand and I can't control it with one hand. So I had to put it down, finish eating, and then mess my way through it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. It seems better than it did in 2.0. It seems faster. It seems I don't know. It just seems more polished, which I guess makes sense. It's kind of their third kick at the can, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I was worried because I haven't actually even played it on my phone yet, which is more powerful than my iPad. I have an iPad Air 1, and I was a little worried because, like you said, it starts into the tutorial right away, and for me, the tutorial was pretty slow in parts as far as frame rate goes,
Mm,
and it would jump almost a full shot in a scene as the tutorial was happening. So I was really worried how it was going to actually perform because I didn't think the 2.0 version performed all that well. And I agree with you, Lloyd. Actually, getting in the game and playing it, it is much improved as far as performance goes. In my opinion, the frame rate seems more stable. I did have quite a few crashes to the point where
hmm,
I stopped trying to build something. I was working on one of my toy boxes, and I stopped trying to build in that toy box after two or three crashes of no autosave. But it didn't happen on every toy box I played, and it didn't happen every time I booted the game up. So
hmm.
I'm going to give him a get out of jail free card on that one because it wasn't a consistent thing for me, and I still felt that 2.0 was much more um, buggy, slow, and
Yeah.
lacked optimization.
Yeah, I ended up having to reinstall it, and it wasn't a fault of the app. I was installing a bunch of things for testing, and there were some really large apps, so I had to delete a whole bunch of stuff. So I had to re-download it a second time, and start up the intro again. The first time that I jumped right into tutorial, it was very laggy. Like the controls weren't really responsive. There's a bunch of weirdness, and I was like, "Oh, that's really weird." Like that they would ship something this unpolished. So I had the I guess the benefit of having to delete it and re-download it. The second time there was no issues, so I don't know if it was maybe my phone needed a
Hmm.
reboot. Now I'm running 9.0. Maybe there's some other changes there, but so far since reinstalling it, not that I'm encouraging anybody to go and re-download it because it is a huge download. I've had zero issues. The other thing that I can think of is when you first started up, it's like, do you want to download the extra assets?
Hmm.
And I was doing that while I was checking out the tutorial. So maybe the background downloading was impacting some of that. Where the second time I downloaded it, that kind of I said no or whatever. I don't even remember
Hmm.
what I did, but that stuff came down later, and it seems to be fine now. The Toy Box Hub took a while to load, but it looks really great. Even though everything is now white because I haven't unlocked anything on my newly freshly downloaded version. But yeah, I'm digging it. The only issue I have with it is I really wish like this release more than any other makes me really wish that there was a true account system with Disney Infinity where every single thing that I've done on my console gets uploaded to the cloud and translates to this one. So if I
Hmm.
have 50,000 sparks, I could then load up this version of the game, see that I have 50,000 sparks, and go buy some toys, which will then get pushed up to the cloud next time I turn on my console version. It would also be really great for food. So if I have a farm,
Hmm.
I could mobily like load up my farm, start harvesting all the food, making sure everything's replanting, do all that while I'm on coffee break or whatever, turn it off, and then come home and have all that food sitting in my inventory. So maybe 4.0 will be a little bit more integrated because that would be the ideal where you could
Hmm.
have your progress kind of immediately synced across all your devices through the Disney account that you're signed into anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think that's I absolutely think that some of that is deliberate. It's to lend itself to the freemium model, but
Yeah.
not all of it. I mean,
Hmm.
I I understand the spark mechanic,
Hmm.
which is frustrating. Don't get me wrong, but it is an easy thing for them to put their thumb on to make it freemium and
Hmm.
a buy to play thing.
Hmm.
You know, you want to unlock something, then here's your 10,000 spark $3 money pack or whatever it is.
Sure.
Uh, and on one hand, I almost feel like we should be grateful that they are at least giving us the toys that we have unlocked, and that
Yeah.
you know are they're giving us that. But other things, I think you're alluding to it, is that maybe there's just not the technical connections on the back end to make it happen. Because what benefit does having all of my sidekick unlocks carry over from my console game, yet their levels and
Yeah.
the food that I have collected over there not carry over? I mean, I can't think of a freemium issue there, or something that you know could prevent that from a business model
Sure.
perspective, versus just a technical, we haven't coded it to work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's probably something to do with the fact that the game doesn't assume always online connection. So they don't want to have a case where I've done a bunch of stuff on my console but lost internet connection, and then I do a bunch of stuff on my iPhone, have internet connection, upload those changes up, and then turn on my console, and then there's a collision between save states. So it could be something as simple as that. But it would be nice if there was maybe a little bit more connectivity where
Yeah.
things like food, if I happen to harvest the food twice and lose 300 carrots, I don't really care so much.
Mhm.
Where if it was like all my toys, I'd be really upset if I unlocked them once and then somehow overwrote that cloud save.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know the solution to fix it, but I'm also not a software engineer by trade anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that stuff really, but I can just make wild in the sky demands and hope that they somehow become one. And I apparently have to find a funny hat because I'm a little bit ranty right now on this thing, so I'll have to do that
No,
for
no,
next
not at
episode.
all. Hey, it was something. It was the main thing I wanted to talk about. I think it's easier pill to swallow this time, simply because we haven't had to purchase 100 power discs that aren't in the game. We've only had to purchase a few power discs at this point.
Yeah.
That was the thing that really rubbed me the wrong way the last couple versions, and so it feels better now,
Mhm.
even though those power discs aren't in there. It just feels better simply because there are fewer power discs.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, I was gonna say one other thing. Oh, another interesting thing about it. I watched a an interview from Family Gamer TV with Sean Patton, the one of the lead developers for the mobile version of the game,
Sure.
and they were asking, toy box takeovers in the game, which A is a really cool thing, um, but B, they followed that up with a question on, are we going to see Toy Box Speedway, because it's currently not in the game, and there's no real indication that it's going to be included in the game.
Mhm.
And he was really kind of cagey about it.
Hmm.
But it was weird. It wasn't like, I'm not supposed to say. It was like, we haven't figured out what we're going to do. I doubt that's the case. I mean, I think it's going to come in the game. It's just going to be work like the current version. You're
Yeah.
either going to pay for it separately or use your card that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I think it's odd, unless there's a technical issue preventing it
That's what I'm
from being in
thinking.
the game.
Yeah, with like maybe the enhanced driving engine that they put into
Mhm. Like the physics,
the physics
I think.
engine, the driving system that they've engineered for it. Maybe it's just too much for the mobile device. It'll be interesting, like with Disney Infinity coming to the Apple TV in the future, where it's going to be the full version of the game. iOS devices and Android devices of similar class should be available to
Mhm.
run pretty much the full version of the game. So yeah, it'll be curious to see what happens. Maybe this is kind of like the point 0.5 release for what is going to be the full release this year, which will be a digital download of the full version that you can play with your download cards or maybe with a Bluetooth portal. Like, who knows what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, that'd be totally be awesome if there's a premium version of the game for standard iOS devices
Yeah.
or Android devices.
Yeah, their
And
competitors are doing that. You can get mobile
mhm,
versions of Skylanders.
mhm,
I think the new one, Superchargers or whatever it's called, has a mobile version as well. So it's
I
not
think you're
unheard
right.
of. I don't have an iPad to play on anymore, so I haven't even thought of doing that.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, yeah, that's good. Good news. Glad it's there's some good and bad with it, but I think again it's still good we have it versus the alternative of not having it at all. And I think it's still a pretty amazing technical feat that you can even get a game for the most part in its completion from from a modern console on these mobile devices is just amazing.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing. I agree with you there.
Well, all right, buddy. That's going to wrap up the news of the week. Again, it was kind of slow. Hopefully, we get some more news here real soon. I think King Loop in the chat was saying that we will be hearing more info on the Marvel Battlegrounds coming at us from New York City Comic Con. So that's exciting. That's coming up in a couple weeks.
Hmm.
But one thing that we're not going to end the show, Lloyd, since we haven't had you on the show in a long time, Jason and I have talked about it, but you
Hmm.
haven't had a chance to talk about it here with us on this show. I
Cool.
just want to hear your thoughts on 3.0. You've played it a ton, and you and I have talked about a lot offline. But why don't you share some of your thoughts with it with everyone out there?
Sure. So I think on the first day that we were allowed to, when the NDA was up or the embargo was up, I think that weekend I streamed something like 14 or 15 hours that weekend. And I had really only played the Toy Box Hub. I played some Toy Box. I built a trench run leveler live on the stream, which was great. There was a couple hundred people watching or whatever us build and getting some feedback from the audience. And then I went and started playing through some of the first playset that came with the game. And at no time was I worrying that I wouldn't have enough content to continue. Like, I could have done another a block of 14 hours and I could have kept going. Like, there is so much in this game. I think the first like 6 or 8 hours, I think it was an 8 hour or maybe it was 7 hours that I streamed, I was pretty much just in the Toy Box Hub. Like, this game has an unbelievable amount of content available to you right on the disc. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
including the playset and the takeover if you got the Toy Box takeover pack. Just the stuff that ships on the disc in the Toy Box Hub with all of the levels that you can download, all the stuff you can play in Flynn's Arcade, all the tutorials that they teach you to build and create and play. The amount of content in this version is just unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny because we assumed that there'd be less content because there's one less figure with the game, and it's like, okay, well, it's cheaper. There's one less figure. Maybe a lot of the stuff would be like user fun, so we'd have to create our own fun by downloading toy boxes and things. But that's not the case. And then
Mm-hmm.
then there's farming and there's all these other things that you can do in the game. So right off the bat, the value for this package is just kind of unbelievable. The amount of content that's in it. But
Yep.
but that aside, everything with the game has been like any sharp edges has been they've been filed down and rounded and buffed out. The play sets, like I'm a playset guy, as I've said many times on the podcast. I like the toy box. I build stuff. My kids build stuff, so I play with it. But I'm not the crazy guy that can string together huge logic puzzles and do that. I mean, I could do it, but there's other things that I find more enjoyable for me when I play the game. So was seeing what happened with the playsets in 2.0, where they weren't terrible, but they weren't, some of them weren't even at the same level with 1.0. I was kind of wondering what would happen with 3.0, and playing through the what's it, Twilight? No. Yes,
Try
Twilight
the
of the
Republic.
Republic. I keep getting
Hmm.
the two names confused. So Twilight of the Republic, playing through that, the amount of content that's in that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The amount of extra missions that you can do, the various planets, the fact that you can jump out into space and have space combat whenever you want, essentially whenever you want once you unlock that for the first time. The fact that you can now repeat missions and things without having to restart the playset is huge to me. Like I'm a completionist, so when I saw that there's 100 Minox, I was like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. I'm never going to complete this. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess I will. I'll just have to take my time to do it. But just the amount of other content is huge. The fact that you can play with any Star Wars character in any Star Wars
Hmm.
level is huge. Like that's, to me, that's probably the number one favorite thing. Like my daughter, she loves Sabine. Like she loves that character. She loves it watching her in Rebels, and she loves playing with her. And when she saw that the new Star Wars playset was coming out, she's like, "Oh, but I want to play with Sabine." I'm like, "Yeah, you can." No problem. She's like, "Oh, really? I can play with my character?" I'm like, "Yep, you can play with your character." So just little things like that. It's made the experience a joy. The set pieces in the play sets are great, like the different battles. Like when I won't get into the new one yet, we'll leave that for our next topic, but just getting into some of the big battles that you've seen before is great. Like the lightsaber battle running through chasing Darth Maul. It's like,
Hmm.
this is the movie, but I'm playing it.
Yeah.
It's like the music, I think I was streaming it and I'm like humming along to the music and being really annoying. It's just there's something magical about that, taking a property that I obsess over. I love Star Wars. I'm not a super fan, as it's been pointed out a few times by certain people, but I'm a really large fan. I've gone to all the movies except for the first one when they were in theaters, or maybe it's only Jedi, from Jedi on, multiple times in theaters. I've seen each movie like 10, 15, 20 times, plus watching with the kids a whole bunch of
Hmm.
times. All the miniseries, all the comics, a bunch of the books, all these other things. I love Star Wars, and being able to then jump in and experience and play with that myself has been great. Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about Disney Infinity 3.0. There's nothing that jumps out at me as this needs to be fixed. This is dumb. This, I don't know why they did that. Everything is as it should be. I can't think of a better way for them to have done what they wanted to do. I mean, there's little like weird issues, like the online play in Flynn's Arcade was
Hmm.
busted for the first few weeks. That seems to have gotten a little bit better. The patch that's come out to make the wait times a little bit less. I think that was out there the first week the game was out. Fixed things enough. Maybe there's just not enough people hitting it like every
Hmm.
5 seconds, so it's kind of fixed itself. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Bad gamer in the chat rooms complaining a little bit about interiors. That's not my thing, so I haven't really seen anything bad about that. I did the interiors that I had to get the trophies,
Hmm.
and I got the platinum, which was great. I think I beat Jason at the platinum, which I think.
Nice.
I think that made him a little bit angry. So I'm sorry, Jason. But I like all the stuff that I love to do in games. I was having a ball doing with this game. So yeah, I don't know. 3.0 is absolutely amazing. Just really love it.
That's awesome. That's so awesome to hear. And it's just such a breath of fresh air from this time last year. I mean, the game had just launched in 2.0, and we had so many issues with it. Not only bugs that were game breaking and frustrating, but
Yeah.
also just the content itself in comparison
Yeah. I I can
wasn't as inspired.
I tried to convince myself that it was good. Like I love Marvel as well. So I was like, no, it's fine that I'm playing the same place twice. It's good.
Right.
It's great. I mean, I can go to nowhere in a different set. That will be different. That'll be great. But when you compare and contrast kind of the two playset experiences, 3.0 is each playset is kind of like its own video game. It has its
Hmm.
own story. It has side quests. It has repeatable missions. It has collectibles. It's kind of its own world. And like I said, for Rise, I'm I want to say 12 hours that I've been playing it, probably
Wow.
off and on, to get pretty much all the quests complete except for some of the last ones, or maybe unlock some more after I beat it. I'm not sure. There's a whole pile of content in these playsets, which is my bread and butter. And I've
Hmm.
also spent a hell of a lot of time in the toy box as well with my kids, building, like the path tool is great. Like just like little things like when you're putting down terrain and you have kind of the detail stuff that you can lay over top of it. So it's not all just grass, like
Hmm.
square grass blocks. Now you can put kind of like these little patchy things with pebbles and things. Just the steps that they've gone to kind of allow builders and creators to be just a little bit more creative, give them a little bit of a wider paintbrush, has been great as well. And
Hmm.
I'm not a toy box expert. I'm not a master builder, but even I'm seeing a lot of joy in some of the new stuff that they've added into the toy box. And I know my kids are loving it. Making Ewok forests with tree forts, they could do that all day. They love the hell out of that, which is really great.
That's yeah, that's cool. Well, with that, so I've experienced Twilight. You've experienced Twilight. We played it a ton. Uh, Rise launches this week. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but you are lucky enough to have gotten your hands on. And so this is, this is the hotly anticipated Star Wars playset so far. Has it met expectations for you? What are you thinking of Rise Against the Empire?
I didn't know what I was going to get when I played it, because like episodes 4, 5, and 6, I mean, there's 20 years
Mm,
of that existing in the world, 30 years of it existing in the world, almost 40 years, I
yeah.
guess. That's scary. I'm getting old. So it's been around for a while, and I mean, it's been fixed slash ruined depending on who you talk to, a couple times by George Lucas. But it's been basically the same story, and
Yeah.
I wondered how they were gonna basically tell you the story again, but with the knowledge that someone could be playing as Han Solo, someone could be playing, pretty much right off the bat as Chewbacca or Han Solo or Leia and Luke. Like
Hmm.
they meet at different times in the movie. Like, how is this going to happen? And the fact that it, like, maybe a little spoiler if you don't want to hear this, maybe skip forward 30 seconds. How you're basically all four of you are on the ship at the start of the level. So some of the stuff has changed, but there's still R2D2, there's still C3PO, except all the other people are there, and I think it's Han Solo that shoves them into the escape pod to go down. It's like, okay,
That's cool.
so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's perfect. They took the story, they took the core kernels of the Star Wars mythos that's been out there
Hmm.
for many years, twisted it just a tiny bit to fit with the story that they're telling. And right after they did that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take any story that they tell me in stride. They're gonna handle it perfectly, and so far they have. From the attack on the Death Star to being on Hoth, to jumping around with Ewoks in the Force of Endor. They've taken stories that I know and love and made them kind of with a, I don't know, maybe a little bit playfully, change them in such a way that makes them kind of new and fresh, even though you know what's going to happen. You know the Death
Hmm.
Stars are going to blow up. You know there's going to be a battle. You know this is going to happen. You know there's going to be AT-ATs and they're going to be taken down by tow cable. You know all this stuff. But they do it in such a way where it's fun and surprising, which I really enjoyed. That was really great.
That's really exciting because I mean that's one thing that they've been deliberate about with all of their play sets is like, we're not retelling the story.
Yeah.
We're doing it in our way.
Hmm.
And it sounds like for Rise Against, a big way of doing that is just, changing the ways in which the characters get involved with the actions of the different
Yeah.
stories. Because it sounds like the big beat marks are there from the movies.
Yep.
You just mentioned a handful of the most iconic scenes of all three movies,
Yep.
and that sounds amazing. And so for me personally, I kind of want it to be somewhat canon following the original narrative,
Hmm.
but I don't necessarily need it to be or want it to be verbatim what happens in the movies, but I do want those key moments that I can play in and have
Yeah.
fun with my Infinity characters.
And that's exactly what it is. The core story arcs of the canon are there. They just they don't go step 1, 2, and 3. They go step 1, 2A, 3B, 3.
Yeah.
They kind of jump off the path just a little bit. But it's done in such a way that's fun. Like the battle with snow speeders versus the AT-ATs. It was fun. Like you're taking down a whole pile of them, and it was fun. Like every single time you see them blow up and the springs pop up, and my kids are cheering. Like when you blow up the Death Star, you're like, you know what's going to happen. You know you're not going to die. You know you're not going to get shot down. You know that everything is going to happen the way it happens. But it's still fun and enjoyable. And it's kind of funny, like as you're flying, like from one part of the Death Star over the Death Star to another part, it was almost like full motion video. Like there's stuff that you haven't seen before, like kind of like this large scope world that you're flying over. It's like, oh my god, I want to build that in the toy box. I don't know if you can to that scale, but seeing that is like, oh my god, I want to make more. I want to make this, but I want to have AT-ATs walking on the surface coming after me or AT-ATs, sorry, people, coming after me as I'm flying through the Death Star and things like that. It's just enough of the story with just enough of a twist to make it fun and interesting. Like bringing everything back to like playing with toys. It's a very playful, friendly way to kind of bring a story and retell it. Yeah, I love every second in it. I have a stupid goofy smile on my face, which is why when I do stream Infinity, I usually don't have my camera on because I look like a fool with a stupid smile on my face. But it is so good. And like, to be honest, I think the reason why I haven't completed the playset is because I don't want it to end. So
Yeah.
I'm going through and I'm playing it and I'm playing it and I'm playing it. Although what I'll probably do is beat it and then delete my save and restart from the start again, because it was just so much fun. Like flying through space in like in a ship, like dodging big space worms that are trying to chomp my face, blowing through asteroids, shooting down TIE fighters and TIE bombers. It's just everything that I've always loved from playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron on like my GameCube, all the way up to X-Wing and all those other games that I've played where you get a little bit of the Star Wars experience. But this is all of the Star Wars experience. There's space battles, there's lightsaber battles, there's platforming, there's kind of pseudo RPG elements like some of the Knights of the Old Republic stuff, where you're upgrading your character only. It's not as robust as say KOTOR, but it's still fun. Like you're leveling up and learning powers and things like that. You're bringing characters that shouldn't be where they are into it. So you're playing with Anakin and Darth Vader at the same time. And it's like, wow, what kind of crazy world is this in where this is happening? My kids thought that was really funny when Darth Vader is on, they're playing my son's Darth Vader and my daughter's Anakin, and they're laughing. It's great. Like it's fun from start to finish. The thing that I'm really excited for is once you beat the playset and you unlock all the amazing toys that are in that playset, I want to kind of unleash my kids with a blank slate and say, okay, make me a Star Wars level, and I'm going to leave them for a couple hours and then come back and play through it, because they're just having so much fun kind of having endless stormtrooper battles. But it'd be nice if they could put together something that was a little bit bigger with a little bit of a story, and then I can come and wire it up with some logic toys, creativity toys and stuff, and who knows, maybe even make something that is submittable and other people can then download and play.
That'd be awesome. That'd absolutely be awesome. It's kind of like, well, that scenario, along with what you're saying about the story, is something that Seawolf in the chat is mentioning. They're saying they think it's perfect because it feels like a kid is making their own Star Wars story with the
Totally.
toys he or she has, and
It
that's what the game's about, right?
It reminds me of going over to my friend Dean's house when I was young. He had every single Star Wars toy imaginable. It made me so jealous. His dad worked at a place where he got samples of new products coming out, so he had all the new Star Wars toys, and I was insanely jealous. I had 2 Star Wars toys and he had every single one. But we would go to his house, and I'd go there early on a Saturday, and I'd wake up early, I'd eat breakfast, I'd watch my cartoons, and then we'd go over there. He'd put the cartoons on in the basement, and his whole basement became Endor or Hoth or the
Oh,
Death Star. And we would just have these like 5 hour epic battles with action figures and just running back and forth and telling our own Star Wars stories. That's exactly what this is.
that's cool.
The play sets themselves are kind of a twist on that of a story that we might have told when we were younger. But the fact that you can then take all that stuff and jump into the toy box is just, it's huge. Like, I grew up with Star Wars. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And it's made me so excited. And to see kind of like the twinkle of excitement in my kids' eyes when they're playing, as a parent, it just like it melts my heart. So thank you, Disney, for bringing this out. It is absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see what happens with the new movies when they come out and what kind of crazy toy box adventures we're going to have in those.
So you said what you might do when you finish this playset is starting it over. Something you did on year one of the Extra Life uh,
Yeah.
Extra Life event that we did.
Yeah.
Uh, Funny enough that you did that for the Pirates playset,
Hmm.
which was made by Studio Gobo, who is also the group that made this playset as well. And they're
Yeah.
my personal, outside of Avalanche, as far as the playset developers go, they're my favorite. And so I'm super super excited to see what flavor they brought to this playset.
Yeah.
Um, you haven't finished the playset, but I have to ask before we stop talking about tonight, what is your favorite part about it so far?
Well, there's a couple things. I love the fact that when you kill things, you get coins, which is weird because you also get sparks, but you get coins. And the reason why that excites me is you can eventually unlock the ability to buy things with those coins, and you can lay down buildings similar to Toy Story 3, one of my favorite old school games where you're building different villages and things, dropping down places where you can customize toys and things like that. They've taken some of that and baked it into this as well. So that kind of like hit me in the nostalgia of, oh, I remember
Yeah.
playing that game. I love that game. I love this. It was also like the Race to Space pack that came with the
Mm.
Buzz
Yeah.
Lightyear, and then there was the Toy Story in Space playset, where you had some of that as well, where you're buying different buildings and putting them down. So that was great. The other thing is the just the amount of vehicles that you unlock with this playset. There's TIE fighters, TIE bombers. There's well, you always had the Millennium Falcon, but you can fly around with the Millennium Falcon. There's the snow speeders. There's the speeder bikes. All these things that I wanted to play with are now unlocked, and it brings me back to. Do I have it here? I have nowhere that it's that I can pull it out, but I have my speeder bike. You can kind of see it like right over here, kind of. Now I don't have to open the box ever. It can stay in the box because I can play with a virtual speeder bike in Disney Infinity, which is pretty cool.
Nice, nice. Oh man, that's so cool. Well, you know what? I'm glad you're enjoying the game, and I'm
Hmm.
glad Rise Against the Empire, not the band, is
Rage Against the Machine.
yeah,
Yeah, no, no, it's a different
is a
thing.
lot of fun, and yeah, it's continuing the trend of good play sets. I mean, we have at least at least two more play sets coming that we know of, hopefully more.
Yeah,
And I mean, so far they've hit every one of them out of the park in their respective styles, and
yeah,
so
totally.
fingers crossed they continue to do that.
I've only talked about the Star Wars stuff. The Inside Out content in the Inside Out playset is amazing as well.
Mhm.
It's like it's like a Mario 3D Land kind of game where there's levels that are behind the back scrolling. There's 2D levels. There's full 3D levels. The first day that we got it, I was spending the whole day with my daughter. My son was out at a car show with his grandfather. So it was me and my baby girl, and we are sitting there and we're playing. And I'd stayed up really late playing Star Wars the night before, so maybe to like 3 or 4 in the morning because I'm an adult and I can do stupid things like that apparently. So when we woke up early, we had breakfast, and we basically sat down. It's like, okay, let's play the playset. And we sat there, and I didn't touch the controller for like 5 hours, 6 hours, because she played the heck out of that playset
That's
and she
cool.
loved every second of it. And it was awesome seeing the kind of the happiness in her eyes while she's playing that as well, playing with her favorite characters from Inside Out, the movie. it's a really good set. I like it way more than I expected. I knew I was going to love the Star Wars ones, or at least I would like the Star Wars ones, because even bad it's like pizza. Even bad pizza is still pizza.
Hmm.
It's the same with Star Wars. Even a bad Star Wars thing is still Star Wars. But I kind of like the Inside Out kind of at the same level. They did a
Wow,
really good job with that as well. So
that's awesome.
yeah, I'm looking forward to everything else they come out as far as playsets are for this game, because if they're as good as the three that we have now, this game is going to offer like tens and tens of hours of enjoyment of just playset fun, plus all the unlockable toys that we're going to get from that playset that we can go play with later.
Yep, definitely. Well, cool, man. Any parting words about 3.0? Or yeah,
No, I'm really excited to see kind of what the Toy Box Master builders and their minions are going to build over the coming months. Like I've been fooling around with some of the toys, and there is some super powerful stuff. Like the path and the spline
mhm.
tool are great, and that's awesome. And if you've seen my my trench run, like even people that aren't very good can make something that's kind of fun and awesome, or at least I think it's awesome. I don't know if anybody else does. I can just imagine what's going to be coming in the next month or two once all the challenges start flowing every couple weeks. It's going to be a joy to kind of pick up the game and just kind of download 2, 3, 5, 10 boxes
Hmm.
and play through them and see what they can do. You can finally almost tell a story as good as Avalanche or Studio Gobo did in the playsets. It's
Hmm.
almost to the point where it looks similar to that. So give it 6 months, and can you just imagine the kind of amazing toy boxes and experiences are going to be waiting for us?
Yeah,
It's going to be really great to see all that stuff kind of build it up.
yeah, it is. Can't wait. Well, cool, buddy. I think that's going to wrap up this week's show. It was a blast having you back on again. Thank you so much for joining us again. I think people actually might be seeing you a little more frequently as some things change around here, which is a very good thing. We talk a lot, and people need to hear you talk more about Infinity.
Yeah.
But with that being said, what other places can people find you at?
Well, you can head on over to res.tv. That's kind of the place where a lot of the video content that I've been producing lately is going. Not just me. Res.tv is myself. It's Will. It's the Steves. A bunch of us all coming together. Lem. All coming together to produce content that maybe isn't just focused on one area. So there's things ranging the gamut from video games to geekery. So kind of covers a wide swath of stuff on the internet. There's some new shows coming down the pipe. There's some new ideas. I'm going to be doing some live streaming of some of these things. So if you like old cartridges, ooh, Final Fantasy and Mega Man 3, look what I have in my hands. I'm going to be doing a lot more kind of retro streaming stuff as well. So check it out, res.tv. That's where the Inside Dimensions podcast is as well, that Will and I co-host, although the heads are usually flipped when we do that show. So we talk about Lego Dimensions, which just shipped as well. So there's a lot of great content coming over there at res.tv.
Definitely, and it's our parent network too, so it's something we're trying to integrate more with this show and stuff. We're just trying to figure out the best way to do that. So it's
Mhm.
it's awesome. I mean, it's great having just different friends talking about different things over there. And so yeah, if you're interested in other games and other type of video podcasting related content, head over there.
Definitely. If just before you jump in, if anybody
Yeah.
out there wants to see content that we're not producing yet on the network, let us know. If you have ideas, if you want to do stuff, like let us know. Like we want this to be a place that's going to grow over the next year by leaps and bounds. So it can only grow if there's people there to watch it and if there's people there to interact with us. So
Mhm.
head on over to res.tv. You can follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, all the other places as well. Shoot us an email. Let us know kind of what you're thinking, and we'll take that to heart and see what we can do to make some amazing content for you guys and girls to experience.
Definitely. Cool, cool. Just a small minor announcement. No real big details coming at you. We're figuring out the specifics, but we are doing another Extra Life event this year. I think we're going to change it up a little bit. I think we might be having shifts or something along those lines. We'll see how that goes. Stay tuned for more info. But one thing I think we might be doing is opening up the team for anyone that wants to participate and kind of help us collectively for that. I've reached out to Disney PR. I'm not sure if they're doing it again this year. If they are, then we will probably revise that a little bit as to not step on their toes and help them out as well. But stay tuned, the group and the team, and we'll be looking out for all you out there to participate. We are doing Extra Life again this year. And in fact, Justin, Boondoggle Man from the chat, has given us something really cool. I'll be showing off in our after show tonight. Sorry for those that are listening in the podcast, but we will discuss it in a future show when we kind of more formally announce it. So stay tuned for that. Really excited about that, and that was awesome of him. And it's something any Star Wars fan or Infinity fan will want to get their hands on. So cool. Well, thank you again so much, Lloyd. Really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun talking with you and hearing your thoughts on Infinity this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. And remember, you're banned next week. You cannot come on the show next week.
Getting out. I'm gonna troll in the chat room though. That's gonna be. I'm gonna be the guy that says, I don't know. It's not gonna be my username.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
What is it? I love turtles. You're gonna take that name back up. Is that what it was?
It was I hate turtles. No, it was I love
turtles. You'll have to.
Yes. Now it's gonna be I hate turtles.
He'll come back from the dead to troll next week.
That's right.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, too funny. Well, thanks everyone who joined us on this week's show. Thanks to those that were able to make the chat, and thanks for anyone listening after the fact or watching after the fact. We really appreciate it, and we hope you enjoy what we do over here because we have a lot of fun doing it. With that, I think we're going to call it a week, and enjoy Rise Against the Empire this week for all those that are getting it. And until next week, we hope your week is filled with infinite possibilities.
Night, everybody.